who is part of the history of the world. So, all right.
Hi, so over my life reading science fiction and fantasy, I noticed a trend of books becoming larger and series becoming longer. As both an author and a reader, what do you prefer, or what do you think of this trend of large epic fantasy series versus things that are complete in one volume? And also, can we expect another maybe single volume from you, like Elantris, which I love?
Good question. I think most fantasy fans have both a love-hate relationship with the big series. You don't grow up reading Wheel of Time without wanting to do your own big series, which is where Stormlight Archive came from. At the same time, big series have certain issues to deal with, such as kind of the big plot sprawl and things like this, which we love, but we also, I think, would all admit is kind of an issue related to that. Just like if you're going to take up running marathons, you're going to do certain things to your legs and knees. There are certain costs to having the big epic fantasy. And so I really do also love the self-contained works. One of my favorite novels of all time is Taigana by Guy Gabriel Kay. Brilliant single-volume epic fantasy. He does in that book things that other authors aren't capable of doing in 15 books. And I really think that there's, the single-volume epic fantasy is like our version of a short story. for overly verbose fantasy writers. And I really like doing those. I do have a few more I want to do. The main one that I want to write, it's a standalone, is called The Silence Divine. I don't know if I'll keep that title, but it's Battle World where the magic is based on bacteria and viruses. So they have evolved to try to keep their hosts alive while they're inhabiting them. And so what they do is, though they make you sick, they also give you a magical power while you have the disease. So like if you catch the common cold, you can fly. And then you get over it, and you can't anymore. The story is about a kind of SWAT team type, city guard type thing, and all the things they've set in place, like they keep people in quarantine so they can go catch a disease if they need it. And all this stuff, they try to keep their immune systems really weak, so that they can immediately catch these things when they need them, and then like a day later be able to use the powers that they need. And it's about somebody who invents penicillin. Becomes an eco-terrorist with penicillin. And yeah, it's just epic fantasy single volume. I think it'd be really cool. But I've kind of had some projects on my plate lately. Whatever those could be that have taken and dominated quite a bit of my time. So yeah, I will get to that eventually. My 5-year plan right now is last Wheel of Time book, January 8th. Next Stormlight book as soon as possible. Hopefully by next time. If I'm really on the ball, I can do that by next year. We'll see. I have it all plotted. It's very intricately plotted. I get to that point. It's actually about halfway point for me. And so the actual writing could go as quickly as 6 to 8 months. And if that's the case, we could potentially get out next fall. I have 2 books in the pipeline that are coming out next year, probably. These are books that I worked on before the Wheel of Time that I didn't have time. During the Wheel of Time, I said we can't release these because I won't have time to support them. I won't be able to work on sequels or anything like that. And so now that the Wheel of Time is done, I've given the go-ahead for those. The first one is called The Arithmetist. Tor is publishing it. It's a middle grade book about a boy at a magic school, except he doesn't have any magic powers himself because he's the son of the cleaning lady who gets free tuition. And so it's a chalkboard-based magic. Basically, kids play magical StarCraft by drawing big circles around themselves and chalk on the floor, and then start creating little things out of chalk to go try and chew through their opponent's circle, and stuff like that. It's really cool. And he's Joel, the main character. I named my son Joel also. I wrote this before I had a son. And he has his free tuition, and a murder happens at the school. And he's like a super fanboy of the magic system, and so he kind of gets involved, even though he can't do it himself. There's that book coming out. It's targeted at 13, 14-year-olds and anyone who likes brand magic systems and stuff. It's going to be much more similar to one of my style for epic fantasy than Alcatraz was. Alcatraz was completely crazy if you read them. They're really crazy. They're my humorous kids books. The other thing I have coming out, I don't even know how I got on this topic, but Steelheart. And I might sneak over and read a bit of this if we have. Steelheart is a book. I actually sold it at auction this summer. It is a post-apocalyptic superhero book. It postulates a world where people start getting superpowers in our world, but only evil people get them. It came from the idea of, I was driving down the street and somebody cut me off, and I thought, he's lucky I'm not a supervillain, because I would just blow his car up right now. And I thought, what would happen if that were the case? Well, what would the world do if people could just, there are certain people who could just boom, and you can't really throw them in prison, you can't enforce it. So the world actually declares these people forces of nature. Laws can't hold them. If you have these powers, you are completely free to do whatever you want.
Oh, wow.
There's no stopping them. The world basically kind of crumbles into little fiefdoms ruled by the most powerful ones of these. And the story is about a group of people who secretly, kind of in the underground, hunt down supervillains, research their weaknesses, and assassinate them. Protagonist is an 18-year-old boy whose father was killed by Steelheart, one of the most powerful supervillains around, and he hunts down the Reckoners to join them because he thinks he knows what Steelheart's weakness is, and he wants them to assassinate Steelheart. So that's coming out. So that's those two things are next year. After I write the next Stormlight, I will probably go straight into Stormlight 3 because we've waited so long. I might write the second Wax and Wayne book because I have that one published here. And then after that, probably I really would like to do an Elantris sequel. So there it is. Thank you for letting me promote myself at my panel. Your check is in the mail. All right.
Your Alcatraz series chapter beginnings are a little odd. Like the popsicles, fish, trains that explode while falling down hills.
Yeah.
And you often put in little opinions of yours in there, so I was just wondering if those ever reflect your real life opinions, even though they are put into a more humorous setting.
That's a good question. Excellent. So those who haven't read the Alcatraz books, what I do with the Alcatraz books is I improv them. I normally am a big planner. I like to try to experiment with new styles. I wrote the first Alcatraz book between Mistborn 2 and 3, so it's been a while. And then the idea was I took a writing prompt, I brainstormed some of the coolest and yet silliest things I could think of that would never fit in one of my other books. I threw them together in a list and said, okay, I have to use all this and make a book somehow. And things like talking dinosaurs and a person whose superpower is that they can arrive late to appointments really, really well. Magical glasses, because I wear glasses, and so I want people with glasses to be cool. And I put this all together, and I improv them. And because I was improving, what it meant was I editorialized much more. It also lets me be funny. Those aren't necessarily always my opinions, often they are, but usually it's me poking fun at my own opinions or things like that, or me poking fun at epic fantasy in some way. Each book starts with a paragraph of me going off on some random tangent that relates somewhat to the book, except they're written in Alcatraz's viewpoint. And then usually they involve making fun of you, the reader, in some way. So yes, I would say that most of those are my opinions, but not all. Some of them are just Alcatraz, and so if you're frustrated, you can find him and hunt him down. Good luck, because the librarians are trying to do that already.
Hi. The Mistborn books, especially the first one, and well, the second one and the third one too, but they kind of this topic. So, I like this as people, but I thought that they were very beaten down. The reason why I think that it was a bit excessive is because I'm from Venezuela, and it's very crappy down there. That's the reason why I'm not there right now. And the people there, they're in really crappy circumstances, but they still find always a way to do something fun or something happy. If the electricity turns out, everyone gets out candles and they tell the horror stories around the building. If the water runs out, they all have a shower in the patio with buckets. So why didn't you add any kind of thing like that in the Mistborn books with the Scarlet? You have been mentioned that she had a birthday, but it's never a party or anything.
Right. That's a good question, and with the Mistborn books, I was specifically trying to create a culture. What would happen if a culture had been beaten down and ruled by the dark enemy of all goodness for 1,000 years? And I wanted to take it an order of magnitude worse than anything that really could even exist in our world. And because of that, I really wanted the setting to enhance the fact that this isn't just an oppressed culture. This is something, incredibly far beyond anything that we could imagine happening in our world, because of an immortal emperor who just wants you all enslaved and really hates it when people are having a good time. And because of that, I tried to take it as extreme as I could justify to myself in the world. So that's an answer. I don't know if that's a good answer for you, but that's the best answer I can give. Why don't I go ahead and read to you just a short little bit from one of the other books I have. I don't want to read too much of The Will Time. I know, I'm sorry, but I don't want, you've got to have stuff to be able to read.